Hi, I'm Felicity Clarke. I'm a mixed media and textile artist, and I've always worked within those mediums, but these days I work with thermal imaging and 3D work and paper. I had art in my life, all my life. I had an accident, a workplace accident 10 years ago, which changed my life. I ended up with PTSD, quite extreme PTSD, and I have chronic regional pain syndrome. So I was in a pain for a long time, which also inhibits a lot of creativity. I pushed myself to get out and do, and that's how I actually found art from the margins and started coming here when it first opened as a way to get out, back out into the art world. And through that also, my father unfortunately had cancer. He was having lots of scans. While I was looking at the scans with surgeons and what microsurgery he was going to have as an artist, I realised how beautiful they were. They were actually colour. The imagery was actually stunning, but it's juxtaposed against the fact that it's a terrible disease and it's deadly. But in my mind as an artist, and I think the surgeons were a little bit surprised when I kept saying, "Can I keep that? Can I have the 3D form of his brain?" They thought it was rather hilarious. I looked at it in a different perspective, and so from there I started to look at my own condition, and I started to look at other people's conditions. And so I started to research and investigate it, and it was fascinating. A lot of my work is based around the brain, mental health and other conditions. I've suffered a lot of stigma because of my condition, and I'm open with people about it. But it is very difficult. But for people to see a representation often is quite an eye-opener, and they look at it in a different way. And it's a great way to start a conversation. This is an 80s sort of style of quilling, but it's a 3D art work. So it's a different way. It's not flat, and none of my work is flat. It's always 3D. So this one is actually called Baby Brain, and it's based on an early vintage psychology journal that I discovered online, an article about what they called hysteria, which in Victorian eras, women could actually be institutionalised for what they called hysteria, but it was actually a hormonal imbalance. And if you couldn't have children and you were considered barren, they often said it was because you had a mental illness. I just love the image itself and that context of a baby actually being in your brain, but there's a lot more that goes behind the research to it. It's probably a nicer version of what actually happened to women.